Hello dear students, welcome to GDC. In this video we are going to discuss about model question paper that is specially designed for the Telangana pharmacist exam. These MCQs are dedicatedly prepared on the basis of current syllabus that is released for Telangana pharmacist. Let's discuss. First question is talking about uh, what are the DNA replication and transcription are the function of DNA replication and the transcription are function of nucleus, lysosome, endoplasmic reticulum या peroxisome. So the correct answer is nucleus, because nucleus is basically contains your genetic information or genetic material that basically regulate your replication and transcription process. So we can see that the cell that contains nucleus are called as eukaryotic cells, and the cell which does not contain nucleus are called as prokaryotic cells. Your and our skeletal muscle cells are multinucleated. So multinucleated means they have more than one nucleus, and our mature RBC does not contain nucleus. This is also one of the important, but remember reticulocytes. So reticulocytes, which is also known as immature RBC, these reticulocytes contains your what? These reticulocytes contains the your nucleus, but when the RBC get matured, that nucleus gets disappear. So function includes DNA replication, transcription, control of cellular structures, direct cellular activity, as well as produce ribosome in nuclei. These are the function of the nucleus. So moving to the next question, which of the following is a triose monosaccharide? So triose means 3 carbon containing compound. Triose means 3 carbon containing compound. So what is the general formula of monosaccharide? CnH2nOn. So that means 3 n equal to 3, that means C3H6ON. Okay, so this triose class consisting of two monosaccharide. One is your glyceraldehyde, second one is your dihydroxy acetone. Okay, glyceraldehyde and dihydroxy acetone. This glyceraldehyde comes under your aldose, that means aldehyde functional group, and dihydroxy acetone comes under ketose, that means ketone functional group. Okay, you can see this triose, glyceraldehyde and dihydroxy acetone. Okay, so next question, two sugar which are different from each other on a single carbon atom, then what we call it as a. So remember, when two sugar differ from each other around a single carbon atom, then we call it as a epimers. Okay, so we call it as a epimers. So you can see, yes. So when two monosaccharides differ from each other in a configuration around a single asymmetric carbon, we called it as a anomeric carbon. So they are also referred as epimeric carbons. Okay, epimers are what? Those when two compound or two monosaccharide differ from each other around a single carbon atom. So you can see glucose, and remember glucose and galactose are C4 epimer, and glucose and mannose are C2 epimer. That means here you can see difference in carbon number 2 position, here difference in carbon number 4 position. Okay, these are called as C2 and C4 epimers. So moving to the next question, which of the following tests are employed for the identification of reducing action of the sugar? So reducing sugar means what? Reducing sugars are those sugar which are consisting of free aldehyde or ketone group, okay, that can reduce the ferric ion, cupric ion to cuprous ion, okay, that are called as reducing sugar. So both whether your Benedict test, spelling test, Barford test. So remember all the three tests, your Benedict test, your Fehling test and your Barford test. All the three tests are employed for the identification of reducing sugar. So how you will remember? So I remember as a simple mnemonic, that is uh, BBF, I remember as BBF, Benedict test, Barford test, Fehling test, and this is for reducing sugar identification. This is for reducing sugar. Okay, BBF, I remember it as a BBF. Okay, so moving to the next question. Which of the following is a semi-essential amino acid? What is semi-essential amino acid? So remember, if we will see the amino acids, so amino acids are divided into three classes. One is your essential amino acid, another one is your semi-essential amino acid, another one is your non-essential amino acid. So what is essential amino acid? Essential amino acids are those amino acids which cannot be synthesized in our body. It has to be supplied through outer source for their growth and development. What is non-essential amino acid? Non-essential amino acids are those amino acids which can be synthesized inside our body, does not require external administration. But what is semi-essential? Semi-essential means these are the amino acids which can be synthesized in the adult but cannot be synthesized in the growing children. They are called as semi-essential amino acid. So there are two examples. One is your histidine, another one is your arginine. Histidine and arginine, these are the two amino acids comes under semi-essential. That's why the arginine will be the right answer. So moving to the next question. Yeah, semi-essential amino acid can be synthesized in the adult but not inside the growing children. Example is arginine and histidine. Moving to the next question. What are the Zwitter ion of amino acids? So remember, Zwitter ions basically exerted at neutral pH. At neutral pH, your amino acid contains both positive and negative charge. Zwitter ion contains both positive and negative charge. This here option C will be the correct answer. Okay, at neutral pH, these amino acids are exist as your Zwitter ion, that means contains both positive and negative charges. Okay, so if we'll see the explanation, this amino acid having NH2 group, amino group, that is basic group, and carboxylic group and acid group. So at neutral pH or isoelectric pH, your that exist in Zwitter ion, that is both negative and positive charge, both will be present in that particular ion. So moving to the next question, which of the following is a neutral amino acid? Okay, so to remember neutral amino acid, there is a simple mnemonic you can remember. The mnemonic is GAVLI. Okay, the mnemonic is GAVLI, that is glycine, alanine, valine, leucine and isoleucine. Okay, so you can remember these are considered as neutral amino acid. Here isoleucine will be the correct answer. Okay, here isoleucine will be the correct answer. So moving to the, you can see these are aliphatic side chain containing amino acid: glycine, alanine, valine, leucine and isoleucine. See, glycine is, remember, glycine is optically inactive amino acid. It is optically inactive amino acid. Okay, glycine is optically inactive amino acid. So moving to the next question. Yes, antioxidants such as propyl gallate and BHA are added to the food. So what is antioxidant? Antioxidant are the group of compound that basically added to prevent the oxidation, of the food, because once the food started oxidizing, that will lead to degradation of that product. So that's why antioxidants are added in a sufficient amount for their prevention of oxidation. So antioxidant, so your options are promote bacterial growth, prevent oxidative rancidity and preservation of the food, improve nutritional contents, yeah, increase the fat content. Remember, antioxidants are basically added to prevent the oxidative rancidity and preserve the food. Okay, option B will be the right answer. It basically prevent the oxidative rancidity and preserve the food. So moving to the, yeah, so let's see the option. Yes, option B is the right answer. So what are the other antioxidants? So antioxidants are the compound that prevent the occurrence of oxidative rancidity. That the trace amount of antioxidants such as tocopherol, hydroquinone, gallic acid. Other antioxidants like tocopherol, your vitamin E, hydroquinone, gallic acid, D-naphthol are added for the commercial preparation of fats and oil. So such along with that, propyl gallate, butylated hydroxyanidazole, butylated hydroxytoluene are also used as the antioxidant for the food preservative. The food packaged food are basically added with this material for the increasing the shelf life. So moving to the next question, which type of fatty acid contains no double bond? Okay, so if I will tell you, the fatty acids are broadly classified into two classes. One is your saturated fatty acid, another one is unsaturated fatty acid. So remember, this saturated fatty acid contains no double or triple bond. Here presence of double or triple bond. Here double or triple bonds are present. Okay, so option is which type of fatty acid contains no double bond, triple bond. So here saturated fatty acid will be the right answer. You can see the saturated fatty acid does not contain double bond, while as unsaturated fatty acid contains one or more double bond or triple bond. So moving to the next, okay, another one question asked in the exam, that essential fatty acid. What is essential fatty acid? So remember, essential fatty acid, what is, if question will ask about essential fatty acid, so essential fatty acid which cannot be synthesized in the body and it has to be taken from outer side. So you can remember it as a simple mnemonic, LAL, linoic acid, arachidonic acid, and linolenic acid. These three are comes under your what? These are essential fatty acid. Essential fatty acid. Okay, these are called as essential fatty acid. Linoic acid having 18 carbon, linolenic acid having 18 carbon, whereas arachidonic acid having 20 carbon. Linoic acid having 2 double bond, linolenic acid having 3 double bond, arachidonic acid having 4 double bond. Okay, you can also remember this. Moving to the next question, the constituent of cholesterol that termed as bad cholesterol. Okay, there are two terminology. One is your bad cholesterol, another one is your good cholesterol. Good cholesterol means, good cholesterol is your HDL, bad cholesterol is your LDL. Why it is called as bad cholesterol? LDL or low density lipoprotein. So low density lipoproteins are basically generated from VLDL. It is basically produced from VLDL, that is very low density lipoprotein. So these low density lipoprotein, what it causes, it transport cholesterol from liver from liver to tissue. It transfer cholesterol from liver to tissue, that will leads to accumulation, that will leads to accumulation on where it basically accumulated, it accumulated in your blood vessels, that leads to your atherosclerosis, your congenital heart disease can also be produced. You can see atherosclerosis or congenital heart disease can be produced because they are basically start depositing cholesterol in your blood vessels, that will lead to blocking of your blood vessels. You can see from the image your blood vessels can be blocked, and due to that blockage proper flow of cholesterol or proper flow of blood cannot be occur, that can lead to different type of heart disease conditions. Okay, so moving to the next question. RNA contains all except. Okay, so there are, you can see, two genetic material is there. One is your DNA and another one is your RNA. They are consisting of two type of nitrogenous bases. They consisting of two type of nitrogenous bases. NB stands for nitrogenous bases. One is your purine, another one is your pyrimidine. So you can see DNA contains A, T, G, C, but RNA contains A, G, C, U. Here thiamine is absent, so contains RNA contains all except adenine present, yes present, uracil present, guanine present, but thiamine is absent. Thiamine basically located in DNA. Okay, so you can see RNA basically, RNA is also known as ribonucleic acid, that basically contains ribose as a sugar molecule. This RNA molecule is basically responsible for the transcription and production of different type of protein in our body. So moving to the next question. Nucleotides. So there are two things. One is your nucleoside, another one is your nucleotide. Nucleotide, so I remember it as tide means T, tide means 3. Okay, 3 component it causes. It present nitrogenous bases, it present sugar, and it contains your phosphate. Okay, so nucleotide consisting of nitrogenous bases, pentose sugar, phosphate, yes, all of the above will be the correct answer. You can see, yeah, a nucleotide basically consisting of 3 component. One is your nitrogenous bases, either purine or pyrimidine. Next one is your what we can say, your sugar, either ribose or deoxyribose, and last one is your phosphate groups. Okay, so moving to the next question. The chemical name of thiamine. Thiamine, what is the chemical name of thiamine? Thiamine is options are 2-oxy-4-aminopyrimidine, 2-oxy-4-aminopyrimidine, 2,4-dioxy-5-methylpyrimidine, 2,4-dioxypyrimidine, yeah, none of this. So remember the name of the thiamine is 2,4-dioxy-5-methylpyrimidine. If you will see the structure, dear students, you can see the structure over here. So if we will start the nomenclature, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So at the position number 2 there is a oxo group is there. In position number 4 there is a oxo group there. That's why 2,4-dioxy. Okay. In position number 5 there is a methyl group is present. So 5-methyl. And this is a pyrimidine nucleus, that's why 5-methyl pyrimidine. This is the IUPAC name of, this is what, this is the IUPAC name of pyrimidine. Okay, this is the IUPAC name of pyrimidine. So moving to the next question, dear students, the pH of the pH optima of the enzyme. So remember, at optimum pH, your enzyme show maximum activity. Enzyme show maximum at optimum pH or at optimum pH your enzymes show maximum activity, and this pH is between 5 and 9, between 5 to 9. Okay, so moving, let's see. So pH, what pH is the negative logarithm of hydrogen ion. So remember, pH, there should be a optimum pH, that means it should be 5 to 9, because any small change difference or small pH change difference can lead to inhibition of enzyme activity. Small pH change difference can lead to inhibition of enzyme activity. That's why there should be a optimum window, that is between 5 to 9 should be maintained for the optimum activity. Next thing is some enzymes show activity at acidic pH, such as your trypsin. Trypsin show its maximum activity in case of basic pH, whereas pepsin show its activity at acidic medium. Okay, so you should remember the optimum pH range, that is 5 to 9 should be maintained for optimum activity. Next is, which of the following increases the speed of the biochemical reaction? So basically the enzymes are basically increases the speed of the biochemical reaction. That's why they are termed as catalyst. Enzymes are catalyst. They basically speed up the reaction without changing itself. They basically acts. How enzymes act? Enzymes act by reducing activation energy. How this will act? It will act by reducing your activation energy. Okay, so you can see enzymes are coined by scientist Kuhne. The enzymes are biocatalysts. They increases the velocity or rate of chemical reaction without itself undergoing any change in overall process. The word is coined by scientist Kuhne. The enzymes are specialized protein that act as a catalyst, and they basically speed up the chemical reaction. Okay, if you see if the rate of reaction is at a rate where without enzyme, when we add, the rate of reaction may be double or triple than the normal reaction. Okay, enzymes are soluble. They are colloidal organic catalyst formed by living cells, specific in action, proteinous in nature. All the enzymes are proteinous in nature. Okay, all the enzymes are proteinous in nature, inactive at 0 degree, and also destroyed can moist it and 100 degree temperature. Enzymes are not used up during reaction. They itself does not change during reaction. However, it can modulate the reaction by increasing the rate of reaction and reducing the activation energy. Okay, so moving to the next question. Enzyme which is used for the treatment of leukemia: urokinase, streptokinase, asparaginase, or pepsin. Which enzyme is used in the treatment of leukemia? Remember, option C, asparaginase is used in the treatment of leukemia. Your urokinase and streptokinase used as fibrinolytics, that means helps in the breakdown of fibrin clot. Okay, they are used in fibrinolytic. Pepsin is used as a proteolytic. It is used as proteolytics. Pepsin is used as a proteolytic. So moving to the next question. Yeah, enzyme source and their activity. L-asparaginase obtained from the E. coli, and it is having anti-leukemic action. Pepsin obtained from ox stomach, that is Box taurus. This is having proteolytic activity. Lysozyme obtained from the animals. They are having antimicrobial enzyme such as tears, saliva, human milk, and mucus. Streptokinase obtained from the Streptococcus hemolyticus. They are having fibrinolytic activity. Trypsin obtained from ox pancreas. Okay, this is having proteolytic activity. Urokinase having obtained from the human urine and kidney. They are also having fibrinolytic activity. Okay, I hope all of you are understanding. If you have any queries, you can put your question in the chat box. Okay, which vitamin contains steroidal structure. So steroidal nucleus is basically your cyclopentanoporhydrophenanthrin nucleus. So these three are comes under your fat soluble vitamin. So question is, which of the following contains steroidal nucleus? Remember, your vitamin D contains steroidal nucleus, vitamin E contains chromin ring, vitamin E contains chromin ring, vitamin A contains beta iodine ring. Okay, so you can see vitamin A, or common name is retinoids, contains beta iodine ring. Vitamin D, common chemical name is cholecalciferol, contains steroidal ring, that is active form is 1,25 dihydroxycholecalciferol. Vitamin E is tocopherol, contains chromin ring, that is example active form is alpha tocopherol. Vitamin K contains naphthaquinone ring. So moving to the next question, along with isoniazid, which vitamin is prescribed for TB patient? So remember, isoniazid is a anti-tubercular drug. Its major side effect is peripheral neuropathy. Its major side effect is peripheral neuropathy. So what it causes, it basically reduces the vitamin B6 level. So what to counteract this? So vitamin B6 or pyridoxine has to be given with isoniazid for the treatment of peripheral neuropathy, because deficiency of pyridoxine leads to peripheral neuropathy. So to compensate this pyridoxine has to be added. Okay, so you can see deficiency of vitamin B6 leads to depression, irritability, nervousness, mental confusion, hypochromic microcytic anemia, and we so provide vitamin B6 to the patient with isoniazid for the treatment of TB to counteract this peripheral neuropathy condition. Question number 19 is, vitamin C is also known as oxalic acid, malic acid, ascorbic acid, or tannic acid. This is one of the simple question. You all able to get the answer. The vitamin right answer is ascorbic acid. So vitamin C, also known as ascorbic acid, its structure is quite similar to hexose monosaccharide. Okay, so it is structure is similar to hexose. So you can see ascorbic acid. So this is the dietary source of ascorbic acid is citrus food, gooseberries or amla, guava, green vegetables such as cabbage and spinach, tomato, potato, and rich in ascorbic acid. So ascorbic is a hexose 6 carbon derivative and closely resembles with a monosaccharide structure. Okay, so moving to the next question, what is the process of breakdown of glycogen? So at what process the glycogen breakdown, what that is called? So the breakdown of glycogen is called as glycogenolysis. What is glycogenesis? Glycogenesis means synthesis of glycogen from glucose. Synthesis of glycogen from glucose. What is glycolysis? Oxidation of glucose. What is glycogenolysis? Breakdown of glycogen. What is gluconeogenesis? Synthesis of glucose from non-carbohydrate sources. So two terms, one is genesis. When the genesis word means, that means synthesis. When lysis word comes, that means breakdown. This is the trick. Okay, you can see glycolysis or Embden-Meyerhof pathway, that means oxidation of glucose to pyruvate and lactate. So the rate limiting enzyme is phosphofructokinase and its location is cytoplasm. Next is gluconeogenesis. So what is gluconeogenesis? Synthesis of glucose from non-carbohydrate sources is called as gluconeogenesis, and its rate limiting enzyme is your fructose 1,6 bisphosphate and the location in cytosol. And next is glycogenesis. Glycogenesis means your synthesis of glycogen from the glucose. It takes place inside the liver and the rate limiting enzyme is glycogen synthetase. And last one is glycogenolysis, that means breakdown of glycogen into glucose. The rate limiting enzyme is phosphorylase and it takes place in the cytosol. Okay, I hope this all the question that we have discussed here is clear to everyone. Thank you so much for attending my class. In the next class we will come up with another model paper. Thank you so much.